Passive income. Our YouTube feeds are filled with 9 passive income ideas to make 27 grand a week. And this lady who says she makes thousands of dollars just from selling ebooks online. Look, as someone who helps people plan and then build a passive income through my daily show, the Property Academy podcast, appearing on TV, radio, and in the news here in New Zealand, I've always had a problem with this get-rich-quick content because their passive income ideas are often not that passive and actually don't provide that much income. Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. I'm Ed, an economist and property investor, and I'm on my own passive income journey too. And as part of my own journey, I've watched a lot of other YouTubers' passive income videos, and I've often found that these lists of 7, 9, or even 12 passive income ideas aren't that great. So I want to show you what actually works and the 3 steps to build a passive income. So let's take this example of Ali Abdal.
Idea number 2 for generating passive income is to start a YouTube channel.
Now, I love Ali, but passive income idea number 2 is starting a YouTube channel. Now, let me tell you from my experience, YouTube is not a passive way to make money. And don't get me even started on his idea number 3, which is starting a podcast. I've done it with the Property Academy podcast, and there ain't nothing passive about it. Now, to be fair to Ali, he does say that all of these ideas do take a lot of work, and he's nowhere near as bad as some people who say you can build a 5-figure passive income in like 5 minutes.
So while other people might be chasing the bling and living a big city life, this is actually my idea of bliss. And this is all possible thanks to my ebook business.
But these are more side hustles than true passive income ideas, because as an economist, the only way I know to get a true passive income is to own assets. Things like properties that pay you rent or shares that pay you dividends. So let's talk about how that works. Let's talk about the end goal. You want to get to the stage where you own a property like this, and it might be worth $1 million, and you get 60K in rent a year. Now, there might be some expenses with that. A property manager to make it truly passive, but also things like your rates and your insurance. Let's call that 20 grand in costs all up. Well, that would give you a passive income of 40 grand a year if you didn't have a mortgage at all. Now, to earn that $40,000 a year from that property, you don't have to go to work. You don't have to create YouTube videos. You don't have to start a podcast or create courses or start publishing ebooks on Amazon. You just own the property. Someone else manages it. You set up your bills on autopilot and you earn that income. That is about as passive as you can get. And of course, this is a property-based YouTube channel, but you can also do this with shares. But you'll notice something obvious with what I just said. To earn a true passive income, you need to have money. You need to have some wealth and you need to have assets. Now, the first step before you even try and go and get some more assets, invest in property or shares, the first step is to figure out if you're on track for the passive income that you want. Because even if it doesn't feel like it, you probably are doing something to build wealth and create that passive income. So let's say that you want to spend $1,500 a week in today's money and you want that passive income to start in 20 years. Well, you're going to need around $2.5 million of assets to make that happen. But let's say you've got a KiwiSaver. That's the government-backed savings program here in New Zealand. That might get you 12% of the way to your goal. Maybe your partner also has a KiwiSaver and they're doing the exact same thing. That gives you another 12%. And you might also be investing in shares. Maybe you've got one of those apps like Sharesies, Stake, or Hatch. That could add up to another 5 to 10%. And after doing this, you get to see your wealth gap. And this effectively becomes your new goal. It's the amount of additional wealth or extra wealth that you need to create so you can have the passive income that you want. And that is exactly what I talk about in my book, Wealth Plan. And the thing I like about this process as a bit of a nerd is that it helps you set really clear numbers-focused goals. Now, I do have a free version of the software that you can use, or if you want to use this exact calculator I'm showing you, you can go to my website, book a free session, and use this with a financial advisor. Both links are down in the description. Now, once you see your wealth gap, you're going to ask me a really obvious question. How am I supposed to build that serious amount of wealth? Well, there are lots of ways you can do it, but this is a property-focused YouTube channel, and I like property because it's a serious wealth builder. I mean, if you buy an investment property for 600K, you might put in a deposit of, call it 120 grand if it's a new build. Then, if that property doubles in value over the next 15 years, you've made 600 grand, which is 5 times your original investment. But the big problem that a lot of people have, a lot of New Zealanders have when they're planning out their property portfolios is the banks, trying to figure out, well, how many properties can I buy in today's market? And by my estimates, an average couple owning the average house with the average mortgage and earning 100 grand each might be able to build a portfolio of 4 investment properties over the next 15 years, starting out with buying 2 pretty much straight away, and then another one 6 years later, and another one another 4 years after that. Now, if they were to do this, I'd recommend that they focus on growth properties. These are properties like houses or townhouses that tend to go up in value faster than the likes of apartments. And if you followed this plan based on a whole heap of assumptions, you'd be able to close your wealth gap over the next 20 years and start earning that passive income. And if you like learning about property in this really honest way, I'd appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. I'm really trying to grow it to 20,000 subscribers. But just building enough assets and following a plan, that's actually not enough. I remember speaking at an event in New Plymouth a couple of years back, and this lady came up to me and she was saying that she owned quite a number of properties. They'd all gone up in value and they were worth $4.5 million in total, and she had a very small $1 million mortgage. And she said to me, Ed, I've got a lot of equity in my properties. That's the difference between what your properties are worth and your mortgages. I've got all this equity, but I'm not earning a good passive income. And I was saying to her, well, it's because the properties you've bought, they've now done their job. They've made you a lot of money. They've gone up in value. Now it's time to sell those properties and invest in what we call a yield property, because that's what's going to give you that better rental return. So let's say that she sold her $4.5 million worth of properties, paid the real estate agent, paid off the mortgage. That would give her about $3.2 million in total. And if she just bought high-yielding properties like boarding houses, dual key apartments, hotel rooms, or student accommodation, she'd probably get around that 6% yield I mentioned earlier in the video. And after paying her property management, her rates, her insurance, all her costs, she'd probably get about a 4% net yield. That would give her 131 grand a year in passive income. So the key is that at the end, you've got to switch from growth properties to yield properties. Now, whether you build your wealth through property or shares, the 3 steps are the same. You plan, you invest to grow your wealth, then once you've made your money, you switch the properties or the assets that you own. You go from growth to yield and start to earn your passive income. And I know some of you will be down in the comment section say, oh, make a lot of money. Why didn't I think of that? But I want to be the one that tells you the truth. You can't build a 5-figure passive income in 5 minutes. You can't. Building a passive income takes time, it takes sacrifice, it takes giving up some of your money today so you can have a passive income tomorrow. And that's the truth.